Hello everyone! In this tutorial, we'll learn how to give our animations a cinematic and professional look. I'll also briefly show you how to prepare and separate an image into different layers in Photoshop, and then animate it using the camera in After Effects. By the way, if you want to support the channel, in addition to your likes, you can also do it from my Patreon page. There, I share with you all the projects I use in the tutorials, so you can keep practicing and learning. I leave the link in the description if you want to take a look. The first thing we will do is open the image we want to edit in Photoshop. We unlock the layer and select the Object Selection tools. We place the cursor over the character, and when the pink area shows us the parts that have been selected, we click. We press Alt, and when the plus sign appears, we click on the other character to add it to the selection. With the layer selected, create a mask. Select the brush tool, the color white, and with the mask selected, reveal the parts that have been cut out. By the way, if you like documentary-style editing, my course is now available. But it's not just a course in which I show you how to animate a sequence in After Effects and that's it, but I show you the entire procedure that I followed to create this animation. From the initial idea to the final render, going through each and every phase of the creative process. I'll leave the link in the description in case you want to take a look. This is a quick way to cut out images in Photoshop. However, the cuts are not entirely clean. Look at the cutout at the feet, although they won't really be visible in the animation. I like to use the pen tool to make the cutouts. This process takes a little longer, but the result is much cleaner. What we need to do now is to start outlining the parts of the character that we want to cut out. We don't need to be very precise with this. Once we have marked the path, left-click to make the selection. Leave this value as it is and click OK. With the layer selected, click on this icon to create a mask. Duplicate the layer and remove the mask from the copy below. Hold down the Control key and click on the mask of the layer above. Now go to Select, Modify, Expand, and set a value of approximately 20. This will expand the selection we have made by 20 pixels outwards. Perfect. Click on Generative Fill, type in Remove Characters, click on Generate, and wait a few seconds. Okay, we need to deactivate the top layer to see the result. It has generated 3 variants. We can select the one we want, and if we don't like any of them, we can click on Generate again. I'm going to stick with this one. We select the 2 layers, combine them, and rename them Background. We're going to apply the layer mask to the image above. Rename it Characters, so now we have them separately and ready to animate in After Effects. All that's left is to go to File and save it in our folder. Here in After Effects, we are going to import the Photoshop file as a composition retaining layer size. We enter the composition and set it to 1920 by 1080 at 30 frames, and that duration is sufficient. We'll convert the layers to 3D. If the cube icon doesn't appear, press F4. I'll put this viewer in top view, and I'll send the background layer backwards on the Z-axis, setting a value of 1860. We'll create a 35mm camera and a node. And if necessary, we'll adjust the scale of the layers. Again, right-click New, Null Object, convert it to 3D, and parent the camera to it. Mark a keyframe in the position, and place this keyframe at around the 7th second, at the beginning of the timeline. Move the camera forward. Move the characters layer so that the camera passes between the two of them. In reality, this tutorial is not going to be about the animation itself, as we are going to make a very simple camera movement, but rather about how to achieve these looks that give our video a very professional appearance. On the x-axis, we set it to 905, and on the y-axis, we set it to 1000. Okay, that's perfect. We smooth out the keyframes and give the animation curve a little influence. Now we start with the color correction. We create an adjustment layer and place it on top of the Photoshop layers. We are going to apply two effects to this layer. The first one is called tritono. In the midtones, we are going to lower the saturation quite a bit, setting it to about 15%. We also add some curves to give it a little contrast. This other adjustment layer will be called Looks, and this time, we are going to use a paid plugin from Maxon. We click on Edit to enter the plugin interface. Take a look. Here we have a lot of presets. You can try them out until you find one that suits your needs. Obviously, the color correction we are going to do does not work for all scenes, as it depends a lot on your image and what you want to convey with it. In this case, as the image looks like an old photograph, we are going to use sepia tones, which convey nostalgia, memories, warmth. I'm going to go with this one called Barnyard, which I think works quite well. By default, it has made all these adjustments, but we can modify the parameters or add some effects. For example, here in the Tools tab, we are going to add this one called Optical Diffusion. This causes the bright areas of the image to expand, creating very soft glows or flashes, which give it a more romantic or nostalgic feel. I'm going to set the density to 12. We're also going to add chromatic aberration to achieve this RGB effect. I want it to be very subtle, so a value of 1 is enough. You can activate and deactivate the effects to make comparisons. With this vignette effect, we're going to darken the edges of the composition a little more. This other effect creates a very soft blur around the small circle, so we can direct the viewer's gaze wherever we want. I'm going to leave it centered. We can also increase or decrease the blur range. I'm going to set the radius to 1.2. Look how cool it looks. We're also going to add the mojo effect to create a little contrast and highlight the skin tones. I'm going to set it to 5.5, but you can try different settings until you find a result you like. Here, I'm going to increase the brightness and highlights a little to create even more contrast. Finally, I'm going to apply a lens distortion with a value of 10. Or rather, I'll set it to -10 to reverse the distortion. Now it looks perfect. When we're happy with the result, we click on Validate, and that's it. Here we can see the before and after. Now the image no longer looks so flat and conveys a totally different feeling. We activate motion blur and preview it. It looks great. Finally, to put the icing on the cake, we're going to activate the camera's field blur, which will give us a more cinematic and professional finish. If you have any questions, write to me in the comments and we'll sort it out. And if you like the tutorial, leave me a nice like so I know. See you in the next video.